Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we are going through another edition in my series where I'm talking about my favorite albums from a given year. Today we're talking about albums that are celebrating their 30th anniversary, my favorite albums from 1995. As I was compiling this list, I can't believe that all of these albums are 30 years old. That's actually mind-boggling to me. A lot of these albums were stuff that I grew up on, that I've been listening to for not necessarily 30 years, but a solid like 25 years at least. Some of them close to 30 years. But yeah, it's just insane that these albums are this old. And this was one of the hardest years of this series that I've put together so far. I had to leave so many albums off, so many amazing albums off. Limiting to a top 15 is very difficult, but I don't want to talk forever and do a list of 50 or 100 albums, so I limited to 15. If you don't see an album you absolutely love, don't be shocked, because limiting to 15 is hard. I want you to try the same exercise at home. Give me your top 15 down below, your favorite albums from 1995, and let me know which ones you can't believe that I didn't include. But without further ado, enough rambling. Let's get into this. Kicking it off in 15th place for my 15th favorite album from 1995 is Blut Nord with their debut album Ultima Thulee. So, debut album, like I said, atmospheric black metal from France. The crazy thing about this album is that the main man behind the band, Vince Val, was literally 16 years old when this album came out. I think he composed most of this album when he was like 15, and that's just mind-blowing to me when you listen to this, that it was a teenager of that age, like that young of a person, crafted these songs. Absolutely insane. They went on to become more of like an avant-garde black metal project, bringing in industrial elements later in their career. But here, this is melodic, atmospheric black metal. It just transports you to some frozen wastelands. He really captures that atmosphere perfectly here, and it's just an excellent debut. Is it my favorite Blut Nord record? No, but for a debut by like a 15 or 16-year-old, it's pretty goddamn amazing. So yeah, if you haven't checked this album out before, do yourself a favor and go give it a listen. Up next in 14th, going with My Dying Bride and their album The Angel and the Dark River. So this is a third album by this legendary UK death doom band, bringing in a lot of gothic influence as well. This is just depressing romantic beauty on to music. You can't listen to this and not feel something. It just pulls on your heartstrings. His vocals are very unique and so sorrowful, and the way that they combine all these different influences just truly makes a magnificent sound here. The opening track, The Cry of Mankind, is probably the standout moment here, but really the whole album is pretty solid. Maybe not my absolute favorite My Dying Bride record, but it's pretty up there if I were to do a ranking. That reminds me, I probably should do a My Dying Bride ranking. I haven't done that yet. But yeah, Angel and the Dark River, a great record. Up next in 13th, going with Darkthrone and their album Panzerfaust. So another legendary band, that is going to be a theme today. There's a lot of legendary bands on here. Norwegian black metal this time around. And to me, this is quintessential black metal, especially from this mid-90s era. This is one of Darkthrone's best, easily, if not their best. This is just front to back classic black metal. It captures the essence of that era and sound perfectly. Just a goddamn great album. Darkthrone, what else can I say that I haven't said before? Amazing stuff. Up next in 12th, going with Iced Earth and their album Burnt Offerings. So this is the third album by this US power metal, heavy metal, however you want to classify them. That is their style. They even have some elements of thrash in there as well. Being their third album, this was actually the first album by them to feature Matt Barlow on vocals, after they had a couple different vocalists on their first two records, and they're all the better for it. He's a much better vocalist than they had on the first two records, although I really love those first two records. He just brought a new dimension to the band, and they've just got some great tunes on here. The closing track, Dante's Inferno, is like a 16-minute epic. Like, come on, does it get any better than that? Burning Oasis is another great song. Just all in all, a really classic album for a reason. Solid stuff, that's why it made my list. Up next in 11th, going back with some more Norwegian black metal with Immortal and their album Battles in the North. So once again, a third album by a band. This just coincidence, I think, for this list so far. But yeah, this being their third album, they're kind of taking the template that they had for those first couple albums, which is full of aggressive black metal riffing, but they've started to bring in a more epic vibe to some of their songs, not necessarily to everything, but you got a song like Blashirk, Mighty Raven Dark, where it's got the nice acoustic part in the middle, and then Abbott's just amazing screams, Blashirk, Mighty Raven Dark. It's just fucking awesome. Puts a smile on my face every time. Cursed Realms of the Winter Demons is another great song. Just all in all, this album is a ton of fun, as Immortal albums generally are. Just missed out on my top 10, but any given day, it could easily be in there. All right, now we're into the top 10, my 10 favorite albums from 1995. In 10th place, sticking with black metal, there's a theme here today. There's a lot of black metal from 1995. And in 10th place is Abigor with their album Nachthymnen from the Twilight Kingdom. This is some Austrian black metal this time. Features Selenius from Summoning on vocals. Hint, this will not be the last time I talk about Summoning today. Maybe spoiling some later stuff on this list. But anyways, let's get back to Abigor. In my opinion, this is their best album. I mean, they have a ton of great albums, but to me, this just really captured their peak sound. It's just majestic, and it's got a raw black metal sound, yet it's complex. And like they weave so many different influences together. It's got a neoclassical vibe going on without being over the top and without needing to throw in a bunch of symphonics. It just captures their early sound so well, and the atmosphere on this album is just haunting, and I absolutely love it. If you're unfamiliar with Abigor, this is a great album to start with. Go listen to it right now. Up next in 9th, I couldn't talk about a list from 1995 without including at least one Melodeath album, and that album is going to be Dark Tranquillity with The Gallery. So Swedish Melodeath, the Gothenburg sound. Yes, I could have put a few other albums from this genre and region on this list, and there was a few that were in the mix for my top 15, but this ended up being the only one that I put on here. But to me, this is like peak Melodeath from this region and subgenre. It just really captures the sound perfectly. It holds up still. It's just, yeah, it's the peak of the genre in my opinion. You got songs like Punish My Heaven, The Emptiness from Which I Fed. Just all in all, front to back, I goddamn love this album. One of the best Melodeath albums ever, and one of my favorites from 1995. Moving this along, coming back with some more black metal, once again from Norway with Ulver and their album Bergtatt. So this is their debut album. At this point in time, it was folk-infused black metal, which was very unique. They took a very solitary approach to this, and I consider this a pretty groundbreaking album. They were doing something that not really any other bands were doing. It really laid the groundwork for future generations of bands like Agalloch or Winterfilleth, and they took those sounds and did their own thing with it. But at this time, there wasn't really much out there like this that seamlessly incorporated in these acoustic folk moments into raging black metal. When it comes to Ulver, I mean, yeah, they went a completely different direction after a few albums. I generally only listen to their first 3 albums, and this is probably my favorite by them. But I mean, the opening track here, I Trolled Skog Faren Vild, or Led Astray in the Forest Dark, is goddamn amazing. I love the riff. I love the song construction. It's just so good. This whole album kills. Easy choice to be on my list. All right. That was basically the first half of my list. And now here's where it gets even better. Those first 7 or 8 albums that I talked about, the order of them could really change. But these next 7 that I'm going to talk about, this is where it got really hard for me to rank these, because these are some of my favorite albums of all time that just all happened to be released in 1995. Honestly, an absolutely crazy year for metal. But let's find out what my favorite 7 are. So for today, in 7th place, I'm going with Absu and the Sun of Tiphareth. So this is some US black thrash. I'm going to be using some of these words like peak in the genre a lot today, but to me, this is some of the best black thrash out there, at least in my opinion. You got Proscriptor on vocals and drums. The other dudes do some vocals as well, but the drumming by Proscriptor here is just insane, and I love their song construction. It's a little bit off the beaten path, doing their own thing, bringing in that thrashiness with their unique black metal and unique vocals. You got songs like Absu, the title track, The Sun of Tiphareth, is great. Even a nice cover of Morbid Scream with The Coming of War. This album kicks ass. One of Absu's best for sure. Very easy choice to make this list. Up next in 6th, going with one of my favorite power metal albums of all time, Gamma Ray with Land of the Free. So if you're unfamiliar with Gamma Ray, once Kai Hansen left Helloween, he wanted to do his own thing. He formed Gamma Ray. Their first 3 albums featured Ralph Scheepers on vocals. He left the band, and then on this 4th album, Kai Hansen took over lead vocal duties, and they just immediately made a huge impact with this album. I absolutely love Kai Hansen's vocals here. He got a little more melodic with his singing since his Helloween days, and this is just melodic power metal at its finest, German power metal at its finest. He's a guitar genius, and this is full of great songs with catchy hooks, just a triumph of German power metal. Opening track, Rebellion in Dreamland, doesn't get any better than that. Man on a Mission, Gods of Deliverance is awesome. Farewell features some guest vocals from Hansi Kirsch from Blind Guardian. Just all in all, amazing power metal album in 6th place. All right, now we're into the top 5. It's even getting better than everything I just talked about. This is so hard. Even those last couple albums could have been in the top 5 any given day. But let's just see what I got it for today. In 5th place, Death with Symbolic. So progressive death metal, at least at this stage of Death's career, they had really started shifting to a more progressive era ever since the release of Human. But then, yeah, here it really just shifted even more. Chuck's vocals shifted a little bit from the more guttural death metal vocals to a little bit of a higher pitch. And it's really complex songwriting yet captivating throughout. Outstanding guitar playing, and the musicianship from the whole band is just on full display. You've got great songs like Empty Words, Crystal Mountain. I mean, how good is that riff? Just this whole album front to back is truly excellent. Death is just a flawless band with a flawless discography. This had to be in my top 5. It's just an all-time great album in 5th place. Up next in 4th, sticking with progressive death metal, this time with Opeth and their debut album, Orchid. So yeah, like I said, Swedish progressive death metal, the debut from Michael Åkerfeldt and company. At this stage in their career, it was all about the long, drawn-out compositions, a little bit of a blackened tinge in there. It seems like the masses don't seem to gravitate towards like this and Morning Rise as much as, say, the albums that followed it. But to me, these first 2 albums are some of the best stuff they ever released. I just love the atmosphere and vibe here, and I like the long, drawn-out compositions, and it just sucks you in. I absolutely think Orchid is outstanding and is easily one of my favorite Opeth albums. In the Mist She Was Standing, the opening track, I goddamn love it. It's so goddamn good. Forest of October, this is just a triumphant debut. Regardless of which era of Opeth you prefer, can't be denied how much of an impact they've had, and this was a great start to their career. All right, 3 more to go. In 3rd place, I told you I'd be talking about Summoning again, and here we go. Summoning with Minas Morgul. So Austrian epic atmospheric black metal, the absolute kings of this subgenre. There's a lot of imitators, but Summoning are the masters. This is their sophomore record, but to me it's like the first Summoning album that really has their trademark sound that we all know and love. Their debut, Lugbers, had some elements of it, but they still had a real drummer as opposed to here where they have a drum machine. This is where they really honed their sound, and they would just continue developing it from here. But oh, just goddamn amazing. You got the sounds of Middle Earth here with the atmosphere, with the keys and the dungeon synthy parts, but then the epic black metal is just the foundation and backbone here. You got the raging screams and really great riffs here too. Maybe on some of their other future albums it wasn't as guitar oriented as this. This still features a lot of great guitar riffs, and to me this is my favorite album. I think this is their best. You got songs like The Passing of the Grey Company, Marching Homewards, The Legend of the Master Ring. Just absolutely epic, amazing stuff. I goddamn love Summoning, and I love Minas Morgul. All right, 2 more. Really tough here, because what could possibly be better than that? In 2nd place, one of my favorite albums of all time. Probably any other year for the most part, this would be in number 1. It's only in number 2 because it's competing with what's in number 1. But for today, in number 2, Dissection, Storm of the Light, Bane. I mean, I got the big poster right there as well. Swedish melodic black metal. Some may classify them as blackened death metal. To me, Dissection always is classified more as melodic black metal. They just have the black metal aesthetic and sound a little bit more than the death metal sound. But regardless of that, I don't care how you classify them. This is a masterpiece of an album. This is just, it took like the foundation of the Somberlane, their debut album, and built upon it. Like I said with other albums here, this is the peak of melodic black metal. This is the peak of this subgenre to me. This is just such a foundational album that so many bands have tried to emulate, and it's a timeless masterpiece. John Notvide's guitar playing is really underrated. It just really shines, and the way he writes these songs with this melodic lead work, yet it's got this hateful and angry tinge to the vocals as well that it just fits amongst the beauty of these riffs, and the way that he constructs these songs is just perfection. Soul Reaper, Night's Blood, Thorns of Crimson Death, classic after classic after classic. I absolutely love this album. I love this band. In number 2, because there's one more, and what I have in number 1 for 1995 is possibly my favorite album of all goddamn time. I've talked about it countless times on this channel, but I'm going to talk about it one more time because it suits this video. My favorite album from 1995, Blind Guardian, Imaginations from the Other Side. So what can I say about this that I haven't said countless times on this channel? It's my favorite album of all time for a reason. It has my favorite vocalist? Check. Does it have amazing guitar solos? Check. Does it have catchy sing-alongable songs? Check. Does it have literally everything that I'm looking for in a power metal album? Yes, it does. A Past and Future Secret. A great ballad. Bright Eyes. I'm Alive. Born in the Morning Hall. And the story ends. Every single song here hits the mark. I just love this album from front to back. I'm not going to bore you talking about it too long because I've talked about this album enough on this channel. But if you still haven't listened to this, change that right now. Go listen to it because it's amazing. So anyways, those are my picks for 1995. Like I said earlier, I would love to get yours down below. Let me know what your favorites are from this year. And until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews out.